Let's talk about this so-called democracy they keep peddling on our damp and disillusioned little island.
I'm just going to carry on my own life, whereas actually, we all know that more engagement from so many people of all ages, young, medium, and old, is vital for a functioning, true democracy.
I thought only dictators cancelled elections.
Buckle up, grab a cuppa or something stronger, because this'll curdle your milk.
Fairness is absolutely vital, Madam Deputy Speaker, because if not, what then happens is that in the terms of this misrepresentation...
If 40% of the country can't be asked to vote, it's not apathy, it's a silent scream. And when the lid blows, don't blame the kettle.
You have also a complete misrepresentation of the views of the people on critical issues.
The Labour Party won the 2024 election? Technically, yes. But if this is winning, then my cat's a constitutional scholar. 34% of the vote magicked into 63% of the seats? Brilliant.
Like immigration, like net zero, because you end up with a sort of uniparty type approach.
Because nothing screams people's voice like a system that turns basic maths into a stage trick. And don't you dare call this democracy, this is smoke and mirrors in a posh suit.
And that cannot be good for democracy. If people feel, well, all of our views, you can't be represented, so what's the point of bothering?
Richard Tice from Reform UK tore into this farce in Parliament, and let me tell you, I've seen less chaos at a pub closing time. 6 in 10 voters couldn't even be bothered to turn up. Why? Because the public's faith in politics is lower than a politician's promise.
Trust in democracy collapses if something is so patently unfair as that. And it is so important.
But Anthony, you say, every vote counts. Does it? Then explain how Reform needs 823,000 votes per seat, while Labour bagged one for the price of a round at Wetherspoons, 23,000 votes a pop. This isn't democracy. It's a bloody car boot sale.
Trust is collapsing.
Watch the full speech. Share your rage or your resignation. As my nan used to say, silence is complicity. And complicity gets you another 5 years of rubbish bins collected fortnightly.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Well, as we've heard in this chamber, trust in politics is so important for a functioning democracy. But sadly, based on the statistics and the data, trust is collapsing. Because we face the lowest turnout at the last general election, I think the second lowest turnout in the last 100 years, with just 6 in 10 people voting. And what does that tell us? That tells us that far too many people don't think that voting matters. Whereas I hope we can all agree that every vote matters. And that's why I pay tribute to the excellent work of the lobbying group Make Votes Matter for proposing and promoting this. It is so important. How can we have a situation where only 6 in 10 are voting? I think, Madam Deputy Speaker, we have the most unrepresentative Parliament in living memory. We have a situation where the governing party has about 34% of the votes cast, but 63% of the seats in this great house. What sort of system is that? I mean, it's completely unrepresentative. So you lead to a situation where my good party, we had 14% of votes cast, and yet we have not even a mere 1% of the seats in the chamber. And other smaller parties, the Green Party, they have, I think, just under 7% of votes cast, and about 0.5% of votes in the chamber, or just over. This is so damaging to trust in democracy. So we have 823,000 votes cast for reform per every single seat. And the Labour Party, a mere 23,000 votes for every single seat. I still have voters coming up to me saying, how does this work? And then people get confused because, as other honourable members have said, well, we've got this system for the general election, and we've got a different system in the devolved nations. Which one? Why can't we have a simple, single system that we know works, that is used, of course, in so many democracies around the world, a variant of proportional representation? And what it leads to, Madam Deputy Speaker, not only is there misrepresentation on the seats in the House, but because of the quirks of the system, it means that we have no representation on any single select committee, despite having 4 million votes and 14% of the votes cast. Trust in democracy collapses if something is so patently unfair as that. And it is so important. And we know we can do better. I think it's marvellous that honourable members from the government party, the Labour Party, recognise this. Indeed, in their conference recently, a couple of years back, they actually passed, I believe, a motion to that effect. Fairness is absolutely vital, Madam Deputy Speaker, because if not, what then happens is that in terms of this misrepresentation, you have also a complete misrepresentation of the views of the people on critical issues like immigration, like net zero, because you end up with a sort of uniparty type approach. And that cannot be good for democracy. If people feel, well, all of our views, you can't be represented, so what's the point of bothering? I'm just going to carry on my own life. Whereas actually, we all know that more engagement from so many people of all ages, young, medium and old, is vital for a functioning, true democracy. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker.
Oh, but there's hope. Even a few Labour backbenchers admit this is bonkers. Remember their conference motion on proportional representation? Even a broken clock's right twice a day. But until they act, it's all performative. And the audience? They're already booing.
Nearer the time, but honestly, I thought only dictators cancelled elections. And why are they doing it? Why are they doing it? Because they're scared out of their lives of what reform is going to do at the ballot box on May the 1st. And so they should be. So we will battle on.
Here's the rub, folks. Democracy isn't a board game where you rewrite the rules mid-roll. It's graft, grit, and graft again literally, given the state of our NHS.
It looks like about 10 million of you who would have had the right to vote on that day will not be able to. I think this is absolutely monstrous. We haven't heard a big debate about it because both Labour and the Conservatives agree. They are terrified of the rise of reform. They know just how well we're going to do on May the 1st, and they've cancelled the elections in many of our strongest areas. Well, I promise you, we will fight those that are still up. We will do well, but I'm pretty angry. This denial of our democracy is something that is fundamentally un-British, anti-British, it's undemocratic, and it shows how rotten the whole system is now in British politics.
If you're nodding along, drop a hear here below. If not, come at me but bring facts, not reheated sound bites. Fancy a debate?